Will, you're here in
Yes.
India. How do you define the word leadership?
Leadership. That word has shifted for probably the last 5 or 6 years. I've had a major transition. And leadership used to mean you set the vision and you drive people towards a goal. And leadership used to mean for me, by any means necessary, you create whatever energy needs to be created to get that flag to the top of the hill. And my daughter has really taught me the new lessons about what leadership means. And now it means understanding and creating the necessary alchemy to help a person become the greatest version of themselves. And I see my position at the head of my group is to become the greatest version of myself, and then to help show the way for each individual to become the greatest version of themselves. And it was a very difficult transition for me. My father was in the military. So leadership from my father's perspective was about goal attainment. And for me to shake those childhood ideas of winning being the defining characteristic of a leadership to the quality of life that you can create for your people that was a major difficult shift.
And talking about your daughter, I mean, the world we live in now, there are so many environmental disasters. As an environmentally conscious person, what's your thought on the planet's future, the future of our great Mother Earth?
You know, it's so interesting. I was listening to Alan Watts the other day, the British philosopher. And he had such an interesting take. He said he had gone to a climate summit, and these issues were around in the 60s and 70s. People were already having rumblings. And he said he was listening to all of the ideas that everybody had about all of what we should do and how we should grab it and get hold of it. And he said it dawned on him that Mother Earth will be fine if we leave her alone. Right? Just stop doing things that jam and affect the natural course and the natural development of the planet. The planet is a perfect system that will run perfectly and sustain our lives if we get out of the way. Yeah, and that idea was a very powerful concept, that it's less about what we do and more about what we don't do, to slide back into a natural position and a natural role and allow the planet to heal itself.
I always think that we are polluting this planet with our own bacteria and greed. It's the human greed.
Absolutely.
That's recently demonstrated how you conquer fear through the amazing bungee jumping on your 50th. But how do you conquer your other emotions, such as sadness and anger? We would all be inspired to know your thoughts on sadness and, more importantly, anger.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So probably in the last year, I started studying the Bhagavad Gita. So it's interesting to have these questions, because 12 months ago I would have answered very differently. But what I'm finding, a year ago I would have said, well, no, you use anger as fuel. And you take that anger and you turn it inward and you use it as the fuel to help you, conquer. And you show those people and you pull yourselves up and you discipline yourself and you use that anger. And what I found through doing that is all of your achievements will always be laced with the poisonous energy, right? Anytime you try to use anger, or you try to use your jealousy, or you use your resentment or craving, anytime you're using negative energy, you're going to precipitate negative results. And it's similar to talking about Mother Earth. I've been finding that divine wisdom, the understanding of yourself is above all things. And I've been spending time learning how to watch my mind go crazy with those emotions without allowing them turn into action. Because it's not a problem until you allow your anger to drunk drive through your life. You can be as angry as you want inside your mind, and I've learned that it's just a storm. And if you can just sit down and relax, the storm will pass. And I've been working really hard with allowing those emotions without feeling like I have to act on them and without feeling like I have to fight them. And just like a hurricane, they will come and they will go.
This too shall pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, when was the last time you felt hugely empowered by someone, and why?
Hugely empowered by someone.
Given the fact that you said all this
yeah.
anger and fear, and you have all these incredibly motivational videos that you post for millions of people around the world, from Afghanistan to Ghana, who are probably watching it and feeling empowered. But in your case, when did you last feel empowered by someone?
I think my daughter has been the individual best relationship I've had in this lifetime. And you know, there was a story. She had a record called "Whip My Hair," and the song was "I whip my hair back and forth," and she had a little dance. She was whipping her hair around, and we signed a deal for her with this record with Jay-Z's record company and all of that. And she was 10, and you know, she came off tour one day, and she had stepped off the stage. She had a great show, and she was like, "I'm finished, Daddy." And I was like, "Yeah, baby, you had a great show." She was like, No, I'm finished. I want to go home." And I was like, "Well, sweetie, you still have 3 more weeks of the tour." And she said, "I know, Daddy, but I'm finished." And I was like, "Well, I get it, sweetie, but you can't be finished." And she was like, "Well, Daddy, it doesn't matter that I'm done?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sweetie, yes, it matters that you're done, but you committed to doing these 3 more weeks." And she was like, "No, Daddy, you committed." And I was like, "Sweetie, we talked about it. You can't be done today. You'll be done in 3 weeks." And she had a little look on her face, and she went to her room, and I had the room next to her in the hotel. She had her room, and she came down the next morning, and she had shaved her head bald. She shaved every piece of hair. She was 10. And I remember looking at her, and she was like, "I'm ready, Daddy." And I was like, "Got it. I get it. I understand. I will take you home right now." At 10 years old, I was so shocked that she could comprehend, and I don't even know if she comprehended it intellectually, what she was doing, but the protest of having a record called "Whip My Hair" and shaving her head bald, it was brilliant. And that, she redefined what love meant for me, right? Prior to that, for me, love meant that I pushed somebody and I, jammed them and disciplined them into becoming a thing that I thought they should become. And what she showed me in that moment is the true definition of love is helping someone become what they see for themselves, helping something. God has already designed the person as a thing. You would never demand that a rose become an oak tree, right? So the definition of love for me switched more to a gardener flower concept where you help the flower blossom into what God designed it to be versus having it become what you need it to be to satiate your ego.
And in that sense, what's been your guiding light in the cultural sphere? What's the key, I would say, ingredient, Will, that still drives your creativity, that still inspires your creativity today? On this day. What's the date today? Sixth. You see, people needed a bit of
I know, right? Yeah, the 6th.
On the 6th of October 2018, what drives Will Smith of the United States?
You know, it sounds very cliche, but the question of how powerful can my love become? How many lives can I improve? How much light can I hold and carry? And how much light can I manifest in the world? It's an exhilarating thing for me to be able to do what we just did in the other room, to be able to make people laugh, to be able to talk about things in between the laughter, to be able to weave ideas and concepts. And so the guiding light for me is, my mission statement is improve lives. And however I can do that.